UTalk is the language app with the most languages on the market. So in this video, we're going to take a look at which languages it supports, as well as do a full playthrough of some of the features. By the end of this video, you'll know if the language you're learning is supported, as well as if UTalk is worth your time and money. This is not a sponsored video. Because of how hard unsponsored reviews are to find, I have a playlist on my channel dedicated to reviews of products that I actually use or stopped using for some reason. Like I said, none of them are sponsored. So first, we'll compare UTalk to other language apps. Then I'll show you all of the languages it has on it. Finally, we'll do a playthrough of the app. This way, you can decide for yourself if you want to try it, independent to what somebody on the internet might say. So me. Now, there are a lot of language apps on the market that host a bunch of languages. Many apps, like Lingodeer, have around 10 languages. This is pretty standard. If you speak English, Duolingo has 32 languages for you. It also has another 7 languages that are slated to come out sometime in the future, and a handful of other languages you can learn through other languages. For example, Catalan, which you can learn through Castilian Spanish, but which you can't learn through English. Pimsleur hosts 49 languages. That's not even counting English taught to speakers of other languages through the method. 49 is a ton of languages, but UTalk has over 150 languages on their platform. You can see which languages they have right here on the screen. A lot of these are minoritized languages. Some are even crucially endangered. So UTalk is really one of the only places online where you can study less studied languages, like Somali, Luxembourgish, Belarus, or Wolof, or really specific dialects like French Canadian or Swiss German. But like I said, they also have some other languages which have been historically important, but at the current moment are in real risk of going totally dormant, such as Ladino, Manx, or Sami. But of course, they have the big names too. Plus, what's really cool is that they have native speakers for all of the audio, so no weird robotic voices splicing together sentences. There's also how versatile the language interface is. You can learn any language through any language, as long as they're both on the platform. So you could learn Haitian Creole through Standard French, or even Standard French from Canadian French. You can study Welsh through German, and if you're a language geek, you're probably really excited about this. But of course, you can also study any language through English. So before we even get into the playthrough, if you know somebody who's struggling to find resources in a specific language they're studying, that language might be here. Now let's do my little UTalk playthrough. So let's start with my beloved Catalan. When you open a language through the app, there'll be a whole bunch of different subjects you can study. The subject I'll use for this video is the free one that you can unlock with the app just to test it before you potentially pay. Each topic has 6 ways to interact with the vocabulary in that topic. First, you have practice phrases. This is basically your little dictionary that you can go back and reference whenever you want. You can get the translations from the language you're studying through the language you're studying it through, plus images and native speaker audio. Like I said, this is just a reference, but if you study languages, you'll know why this is so great. Next, let's look through the easy game, which is very similar to the hard game, just easier. You'll be shown 4 pictures, which each symbolize something, and then hear the audio clip that goes with that image. Then they'll get shuffled and the audio clip will be played back to you. You then tell the app what that audio means. Just click a picture. I want to pause for a moment and talk about how awesome this feature is. It doesn't look fancy, but associating a listened to phrase with an image is light years beyond things like word banks or translations. Because this is getting you to practice for real life conversations, not just get you addicted to the app. So that's the easy and hard game, more or less. Let's head over to the memory game. First, you see all of the cards without audio. Then they're turned over. Now, in theory, at this point, you're getting pretty good at understanding stuff when you hear it. So when the audio pops up, you have to not only remember which image it goes with, but where the image is on this grid. And for every time you get it right, it gets a little bit harder. So far, the easy, hard, and memory games get you really good at listening. Again, there's no word bank when you're having a conversation at the grocery store with somebody. Word banks aren't helpful for actually learning a language. Now, the speaking game is where the app gets a bit different. It gets you speaking, but kind of with training wheels. So it's a good place to start practicing using these words on your own. You hear a native speaker say something, and then you try to imitate them, and you have both of those audios. The technique is actually called shadowing, and it's great. Finally, there's the recall game. The recall game is the true value of U-Talk. You've gone through all of these other games. In this game, you're just going to see the symbolic image, and you have to recall the word or phrase. You also have a microphone, so you record yourself and then check how you said it against native speakers. Like I said, this isn't a fancy app. The interface looks like it's from 2004. And there are also gamified apps that are more fun to play. But out of every language app I've ever used, this has been by far the most efficient. Learning methods like shadowing and active recall are incredible. So that was the playthrough. Now I will say there is one big thing that U-Talk is missing, and that's spaced repetition. Once you do a unit, they don't ever prompt you to go back and refresh it. Obviously, after some time, you're gonna start to forget stuff. So you kind of have to time yourself and go back by yourself and then do all the vocabulary, not just the vocabulary you're forgetting. So I would say that's probably the biggest problem with the app. Hopefully one day they will install some good spaced repetition software, but you can always use their word reference to do other creative learning techniques, such as importing the vocabulary that you struggle with into a flashcard deck or using them as writing prompts. So if you're trying to learn or relearn an unpopular language, tell me in the comments. Like I said, I do a ton of unsponsored reviews for language learning resources. I'll come back to this video every now and again so I can see what kind of languages everybody's learning, and from there figure out what other sort of reviews I should do. To see a bunch more unsponsored reviews of stuff you've maybe never heard of, head to my profile and then go to the playlist. From there, check out the language learning resources playlist and fall down a rabbit hole.